What is up, guys? Merle here, and welcome to day 6 of my daily Hawken content series. Today we're going to be doing an in-depth breakdown on a single 1v1 fight. This is actually the conclusion of a match between myself and Counter Logic Man. This was in some 1v1 tournament. I'm not 100% sure which one it was. I did participate in several 1v1 tournaments throughout my Hawken career. Backstory leading up to this game was that we had been playing previously. We'd been playing to 5, and I was playing Heat Infiltrator. He was playing Sharpshooter. And as the fights went on, he started to adapt more and more to my Heat Infiltrator play. And I do believe that the Sharpshooter actually does have a slight advantage in that matchup. So he had just killed me, and the score was 4-2 in my favor. So I decided to switch to Sharpshooter, mix it up a little bit. He wasn't going to be used to how I was playing with Sharpshooter, but I was used to how he was playing with Sharpshooter. So I figured, all right, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to try this out for a round. If it doesn't work, I can go back to Heat Infill, or I can try something else. So I hop in my Sharpshooter, and what I had noticed from him was that he liked to do a couple different things at the start. He either liked to stay back behind the wall that you see in front of me. This is a mirrored map, so he sees the exact same thing on his side. He either liked to stay back behind that wall, or he liked to make his way up one of the 2 ramps that you see on either side of the arena. So you can see at the start of this, I am playing, I'm basically playing all the options here. So it starts off, and I decide to go hard right, and I'm scoping in here, not the best crosshair placement, but I'm scoping in here thinking that, okay, if he comes right around this corner, I will most likely have beat him to the spot because I used a very optimal movement pattern. And I'll most likely have beat him to the spot if he decides to come through that little gap, that little blue gap that you see in the just to the right of my crosshair, that I'll be ready for him. Now, there's 2 other possibilities, and I've also made sure with my placement that I'm going to be covered from both of those possibilities. Possibility number 1 is that he was back behind that wall like we discussed previously, and possibility number 2 is that he's going up the other ramp. Now, if he's behind that wall, he obviously can't see me because there's a pillar and this rectangular block to my left. And if he's going up the ramp, he can't see me because of this rectangular block to my left as well. So very safe position for me to be in right now, and one that has very little downsides. So at this point, I'm sort of waiting a little bit here just to see, okay, is he coming? And then I decide that, okay, he's not doing a hard push over to this ramp, so I'm thinking now about other places that he could be. As I'm coming here, I'm checking over on the left-hand side because if he is up on my left, I need to take quick evasive action. I'm really not in a position to turn and try to shoot at him because this game has a turn cap, and if I'm sitting here and I'm turning to shoot at him while he already has an angle on me, that's no bueno. It's not going to work out. It's going to be very easy for him to hit me because I'm going to be basically a stationary target and very difficult for me to hit him. So I am right now calculating, okay, what am I going to do if I see him? I end up not seeing him, but if I had, I would either be boosting in front to go into the trench or dodging back and trying to get behind the rectangle that I was just behind previously. But I don't see him, so at this point I'm thinking, all right, the most likely place that he's going to be is behind that wall because I've seen him there before. I know his patterns. He very rarely comes through the middle of the map, so right now I'm basically looking for him on that back wall. I see him on that back wall, and you can't really tell from the still frame, but maybe I'll throw in a slow-mo here. You can see that he was sweeping from his right, and I'm on his left. So I know that I have a little bit more time here because it's going to take longer for him to place his crosshair on me than it is for me to place my crosshair on him. So I go ahead and zoom in, And you notice that I get my shot off way before he gets his shot off. Um, and I already dodge out of the way as he returns fire. And I actually don't even know if he did return fire there. I think I just caught him. I might have caught him so off guard that he wasn't ready to. And by the time that I had dodged out of the way, or by the time that he was ready to shoot me, I'd already dodged out of the way. Now, at this point, he doesn't have very many options because he's all the way in the back of the map. And you can see right now that I actually have total vision of the cover that he's behind. So there's no way that he can escape back there. He knows this, and so he makes the decision to repair immediately and try and recover some of that um, health and bring us more in line with health, because obviously the game's all about health, and since we're playing literally the same mech, um, the health advantage matters even more. It's harder for him to do any kind of meaningful outplay, especially with the sharpshooter, because you have to have line of sight in order to deal damage with the sharpshooter. So he knows this. He goes for the immediate repair. Not a bad decision, but unfortunately for him, a predictable one. And so what I do is I make this hard read that he's going to go for the repair. Now, if he was metagaming a little bit more, he might have thought, okay, he's going to make the hard read that that I am going to, or no, no. He might have thought, I'm going to make the hard read that he's going to repair, so he wouldn't repair, and then he'd try to catch me with my pants down as I'm boosting in. Um, but at this point, I had played against Counter numerous times. I knew a lot about his play style in 1v1s and in regular matches, and I can't really say that it was anything other than instinct that told me to go for this. I knew that it was a possibility that he wouldn't repair, but for me, there's a lot of upside and very little downside. The upside is if I catch him repairing, it's basically game over. And if he catches me pushing him, well, it's essentially just setting us back to even. So I take the risk, I go for the immediate push, and you'll notice that I'm actually boosting and dodging here, because that's actually faster than just straight up boosting. So I have integrated this into my movement patterns when I know that I absolutely have to go really, really fast. Now, you might be asking, okay, why are you boosting when you're just going to show up on the radar? Well, one of the great things about Hawken is that the repair mechanic is very well balanced. You get to recuperate your health, but you no longer have access to your radar. And obviously I know this, I've played the game for a long time, and so I know that as soon as he goes into that repair animation, he's not going to know what I'm doing. And I've taken great care to try to put myself in a place where even though I know that he has access to a third-person camera, he hopefully won't be able to see me. And I've done a pretty good job here because as I round this corner, you'll notice that he is still repairing, and you can see that yellow bar flash above his mech. Now, it flashes one more time and it stops right here. And because it stopped, I know that he is exiting the repair animation. So therefore, I have a couple seconds where one, he's not going to be repairing at all, but two, he also won't be able to move. So you can see here how I do actually have a visual on his mech, but the hitboxes, especially the map hitboxes in Hawken, are a little bit funky. So I don't really want to chance it. And what I end up doing here is I end up boosting up in order to get this angle. So we boost up, we get the angle, and now I know that I have a free shot on him because he literally can't move because he's still exiting that repair animation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to activate my sharpshooter ability, which is really nice if you know that 100% you're going to hit the shot. And I generally try to save it for those times. So activate the ability, pop him right there, and immediately I use my air compressor to dodge out of the way. Now, the way that the Hawken repair animation works is if you are damaged at any time, you can exit the animation immediately. But if you're not damaged, then you're locked in there. So, one thing, just as kind of a sidebar, one thing that you would usually do if you're running a sustain weapon like the assault rifle, the submachine cannon, or the Vulcan, is you wouldn't actually start shooting a repairing enemy with that until you landed your tow rocket or your grenade launcher, because you wanted to make sure that that damage got in there before you started using your sustained fire. If you opened up with your sustained fire, it's going to take your projectile longer to get there, and by the time the projectile gets there, the sustained fire will have enabled them to get knocked out of that repair animation immediately and dodge your projectile. So just an interesting little counterplay um, with repairing there. So he's spamming dodge this whole time, and as soon as I hit him, he gets it. So he dodges to his right, and I air dodge to my left so that I'm behind cover once again as my weapon cooldowns happen. Now, as I'm going to come out of this cover, I'm going to do something really interesting and something that is meant to be sort of a mix-up. I've been learning about fighting games recently, so I've been thinking about things in the context of fighting games. And a mix-up basically means that you are making your opponent think that you're going to do one thing, and then you're actually doing something else. And so as I'm coming out of cover here, and I'll include a slow motion of it, as I'm coming out of cover here, what I'm actually doing is I am walking out until he sees me. Then, after his brain has seen me and he's reacted to the fact that I'm walking out, then I dodge. And what this does is it plays on his instincts. Because his instincts are, okay, he sees me, he sees what I'm doing, and then he's going to react to that immediately, especially considering the fact that he is so far down health-wise in this duel. When you're that far down health-wise, you really don't have a lot of time to think, and also your brain a lot of times will freeze up and you'll do like a semi-panic. And so he's trying to hit me in any way that he possibly can. He's basically throwing haymakers at this point. And what this mix-up does is it just takes advantage of that. And as you can see here, in the slow motion, I walk out, I dodge, he shoots, and he shoots behind me. So we'll look at it now in real time. And there it is. You can see the bullet trail comes behind me. And what he does also is, because he knows he's so low, he's expecting me to shoot right away. Um, and he knows he's very low, so he has to dodge that. And once he dodges, I also am thinking, okay, he's going to dodge right away. So after he's dodged, I have a time window, 1.2-second time window, where I know, okay, there's no way that he can. Actually, I think it's a 1.4-second time window. But anyway, there's no way that he can dodge again. Pretty much a sitting duck. And when I zoom in here, I actually make the mistake of not zooming in all the way before I shoot. And this means that my weapons are slightly inaccurate, and I actually end up missing one of my guns. Now, I think I possibly benefited from the inaccuracy, because I think the Sabo was inaccurate and hit him. I might have actually just straight up missed him there. Um, but anyway, one of the weapons hits him, and then at this point, all I'm doing is I'm closing him down, because I know that the only way that he can beat me at this point is if we continue to poke and I lose on the long range pokes. If I force him to engage me in an open area, I know I have the large health advantage, so I can just sort of sit there, and he has to do all the dodging, all the work, and I can just whittle him down. So he makes that dodge to the left, which I anticipated, because I know that he has to dodge in a direction, and dodging to the right would be suicide, because he's putting himself directly in the middle of an open area, which is exactly what he doesn't want right now. He wants to try to get behind cover if he can. So I know that he's going to go left. I'm ready for it, and I hit him going left, and then he's going to try to make his way over to the other side of the barrier, obviously trying to put that barrier in between me and himself, but I still have my dodge. And then now that he's in the air, um, just look up again and tag him again for the final damage of the fight. Um, and yeah, that is that. I hope you enjoyed this little over analysis of a 1v1. Um, GG's to Counter. This was a long time ago, but still have a lot of respect for the guy, and he did a lot for Hawken, a lot for the community. And so yeah, I'm glad to be able to share this with you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.